It's been a pretty eventful end of the year for Bleach fans, with the first core of the anime about to wrap up and Kubo making a surprise appearance at Jump Festa only last weekend, and it's safe to say that 2023 will be an even better year for Bleach fans. Now in this video I want to talk about everything that we know about the second core of the Bleach anime by going over comments made by various people involved with the anime about their expectations for the second core and the remainder of the Bleach 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. Now we're going to be analysing comments from the screenwriter of the anime as well as the director, as well as comments that voice actors have made about the second core of the Bleach anime, and lastly what Kubo has revealed in regards to his involvement with the continuation of the anime. And in addition to this, we'll also go over everything that we know so far about the combined episode airing on Monday, episodes 12 and 13, which will be a 1-hour special. We'll go over any spoilers that we know, as well as the screenshots from the episode that have just been posted up, and trying to estimate how many chapters this next episode will adapt, and what chapter exactly the first core of the anime will end on. So you're definitely going to want to stick around to the end of this video. There is a lot of content to go over as we try to piece together as much information as we can from the comments made by the anime staff and by Kubo himself. So let's begin by talking about Jump Festa from last weekend. Now the series director Tomohisa Taguchi had spoken about how he had felt about directing such a huge title like Bleach, and how his favourite scene in the first core was when Ichigo had reacted after Byakuya had told him to save the Soul Society in episode 7. Now when he and the anime staff had looked at the scene in the manga, they were able to interpret that steam was coming off of Ichigo's body as the raindrops were evaporating near his body because of the intensity of his spiritual pressure. Now this is what had resulted in the steam or mist effect that we had seen in the anime episode. Now this was an incredible touch that had helped to bring the manga page to life through the attention to detail and excellent visual effects that Taguchi and the staff had done with this episode. Now via this interview, we know that Taguchi was given permission by Kubo to aggressively cut out any gags from the anime. Even he was surprised by this, but Kubo had insisted on cutting gags, especially if it ruins the atmosphere or mood of a scene. As we know, the 1000 Year Blood War arc has a lot of tense and serious moments, and even Taguchi says that it is difficult to drop in gags, especially when there are serious moments going on. Now this may be easier to do within the manga, but when it comes to the anime, there are so many different elements to consider, which may not align with every gag that's told within the manga. Now Kubo had made it very clear to cut any gags or jokes from the very first meeting that they had, and it was something that was established right at the beginning of the production of the anime. Now I'm going to come back to Taguchi later on in the video, but for now let's move on to the voice actor of Ichigo, who had asked Kubo some very pressing questions during Jump Festa. So Morita had asked Kubo if there would be more anime only scenes in the future, like the Sasakibe flashback where we see him reveal his Bankai to a younger Yamamoto. Now Morita is referencing any aspects of his story that he could not tell within the manga. Is he now able to reveal these within the anime? Now in typical Kubo style, he didn't elaborate much with his answer, but he had said that he definitely has additions that he wants to make to the anime, and he even gives us the example of Unohana's backstory, which he cannot show within the anime since it would distract from the spectacle of Unohana versus Kinpachi. But he hasn't ruled out if he's going to include Unohana's backstory in some other form of media. Now a lot of fans have speculated that he may be saving this for the Hell arc, which he will draw later on, but to be honest, it's anyone's guess as to what Kubo is thinking. But one thing is for certain, there are additional things that he does want to add to the anime. Now if you thought that the first core had a lot of anime exclusive scenes, from the remainder of the comments from the anime staff and Kubo, it seems like things are only just starting in terms of additions and new material made to the anime. Now moving on to information about the second core of the Bleach anime, at the end of the Jump Festa Bleach panel, Morita had said that the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime will continue next year, so in 2023. Now Uryu's voice actor was really insightful with his closing comments as he spoke about the role of his character in the future of the anime and how he is excited about the second core in particular. He talks about how we are familiar with the original manga, but Kubo really is adding more to the anime, which he is looking forward to seeing. He even gives us a little tease by saying that the other day he had heard something about Uryu's character and his involvement within the second core of the anime. So there is definitely a lot to look forward to since we have had a lot of anime exclusive scenes involving Uryu's character. In the first core, we see him speaking to his father in several scenes, as well as him learning about the history of the Quincy via Soken Ishida's book. And more recently, we had the post-credit scene from episode 11 where it's revealed that Hashward has appeared in front of him. Uryu's voice actor had expressed how the Bleach anime anime will be even more exciting going into 2023 and for everyone to continue supporting it. Lastly, Kubo wraps up the panel with his final thoughts, where he speaks about how he was up until 2 to 3 AM just the night before working on the scripts for the second core of the anime. Now this involves going over what scenes will remain intact, what needs to be changed, and what additions he can add onto the anime. Now he even elaborates by talking about how he is working late most nights, trying his best to make the anime as best as it can be for the fans. And he tells us all to continue enjoying Bleach going into the new year. Now next up we have some very interesting comments from the scenario or screenwriter from the Bleach anime, Masaki Hiramatsu. Here we see him quote tweeting the official Bleach Animation Twitter page, where he comments on the 1000 Year Blood War arc episode 12 synopsis and pre-release material, as he encourages everybody to look forward to the finale of the first core. Now we have a fan commenting under his retweet, where he tells him that it's hard to believe that the first core is almost over and it had gone by so fast. This fan speaks about how their hunger for Bleach still hasn't satiated and they are looking forward to the second core. Now Masaki Hiramatsu actually replies to this tweet, as he says that he understands the feelings of fans, and yes, the past 13 episodes have flown by, but he tells everybody to look forward to the second core. What is fascinating is that he hints that there will be even better animation in the second core of the anime, adding that the second core is so exciting it's like a roller coaster ride. But before all of that, he encourages fans to look forward to the double episode coming this Monday. Now over on the official website for the Bleach anime, week on week they've had interviews with various members of the anime staff, and in this particular interview with Masaki Hiramatsu we learn a bit more about his involvement with the anime and his hopes for the future of it, especially the second core, which he hints at quite a bit. Now we learned that the 1000 Year Blood War arc animation has been created by a team that has a solid bond with the original author Kubo, who is acting as the general supervisor over the entire production of the series. Towards the end of the interview, they ask Hiramatsu to leave a message for the fans in regards to the upcoming broadcast of the latest episode of the anime. He says that starting with Kubo and the director Taguchi and all of the animation production staff, they have all really become a solid team in order to create the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. He reassures us that anime original scenes and elements will be added, but his main aim as a scenario writer from the anime is for it to be as faithful as possible to the original source material. Now he reassures us that there are still many surprises left for fans to enjoy in the upcoming episode, and whether if you're a fan of just the manga or if you're a fan of the anime, he hopes that everybody has enjoyed every episode that has come thus far. And in his last comment, he tells everyone to look forward to the second core and beyond for the Bleach anime. He also elaborates a little bit about the second core, as he speaks about how it will be even more exciting, especially towards the end of it, as he speaks about reading between the lines of the original manga and how some of the scenes will be expanded upon in the anime. He can't speak more about it in detail, but he looks forward to everybody's reactions when the second core drops. Now we know that the second core is being hyped up a lot by the animation staff. They're speaking about it having more original anime only scenes, how the animation will be even better than the first core, and I think that there are a lot of reasons behind this, and we get an insight as to why the animation will be better via the second core through these comments made by Taguchi in his own interview. Now this interview was conducted before the first core had aired. He speaks about how the anime will be adapting the original manga, but there will be some anime only scenes that will incorporate some of Kubo's ideas, as he tells everybody to look forward to them. And in terms of preparing for the production, a lot of situations and scenes had incorporated a lot of 3D elements, and he believes that by incorporating 3D it will be possible to create various different ways of staging and making very expressive and immersive backgrounds for the anime. He talks about how the 1000 Year Blood War arc is going to be divided into 4 cores, and because of this it's going to be running for quite a long period of time. And he speaks about a change that will occur from the second core and onwards, as the animation is going to take a step up from the first core, so he hopes that the fans will look forward to this. From these comments from the animation staff, there's a lot to digest. There's a lot of background information that they aren't really revealing here, but through doing some research and by speaking to people who are in the know like James Hansen, we understand that animators during this fall 2022 season were split over several big name titles, with Chainsaw Man being a huge rival when it comes to the production of the first core of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. In general, there were so many other series that had released at the same time as the first core, with series like Spy Family Part 2, Mob Psycho Season 3, another season of My Hero Academia, along with Blue Lock, all of these major titles. And when you're an animator, you only have a select pool of series to pick from as you're building up your portfolio in order to become really established. Now, any studio is going to be really interested in working with you if you worked on huge titles like Chainsaw Man, and a lot of animators are actually fans of the series that they work on. And I know from James Hansen's remarks, a lot of people who would have wanted to work on Bleach had decided to work on Chainsaw Man, either because it's the hot new thing that's out at the moment, or because they just just enjoy the series more than Bleach. So the first cour suffered from a lot of competition in terms of the animation department, but regardless of these remarks about animators being spread too thin over so many different series, I still believe that the first cour of the 1000 Year Blood War arc was absolutely phenomenal. We had incredible pieces of animation from episodes 6 and 7, which were truly standout episodes that had proved to other animators that Studio Pierrot has not lost their A-game. And I may be taking this too far, but I think those two episodes were some of the best animated material that I've seen for Bleach. As for the second cour, I'm hoping that they have secured better animators, because if Kubo is still reviewing the scripts for the second cour, it's safe to say that it's in the final stages of pre-production at the moment. I was concerned that the second cour of Bleach would be clashing with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, but I'm pretty reassured now that Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is releasing in July of 2022, which means that a lot of animators will be free and ready to work on the second cour of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime, which I estimate to begin airing in October or November of 2023 at the latest. Now, since we didn't get more news about the second cour of the Bleach anime at Jump Festa, I'm guessing that we're going to have more details about the second cour revealed in March of 2023 at some sort of Bleach panel at Anime Japan. We may get a teaser for the second cour, and then in the summer we'll get our first proper trailer, and in similar fashion to the first cour, we'll have a final trailer in September, and hopefully the second cour begins airing in October. Now, in terms of the final episode of the first cour of the Bleach anime, we've had 5 screenshots released from episode 12, which is the first half of the double episode releasing on Monday. You can see here Masaki being hollowified. You got a screenshot of Ryuken, and this is where he is arguing with Isshin. Isshin is shocked to learn that he may be responsible for Masaki having been hollowified. Then of course the legend himself, Urohara, finally making his return to the anime as he plays one of his major roles within the story arc, where he reveals to Ryuken and Isshin his plan to save Masaki. And of course you've got this incredible screenshot of Kanai Katagiri, and the series screenwriter Hiromatsu actually comments on Kanai Katagiri's involvement during this double episode. He speaks about the scene in the coming episode where she is crying as one of his favorite scenes, talking about how it had broken his heart and how he has become a fan of a character after they had watched the episode. And in addition to this, he praises the performance of the voice actor, and he is looking forward to everybody watching the episode this Monday. Now, from a recent interview from the series director Taguchi, we see some leaks from the storyboards of the second half of the double episode, and this is in reference to episode 13, which we know will definitely include chapter 538. Now, there have been a lot of guesses from fans online that the first cour of the anime will actually wrap up things on chapter 542, which means that this double episode combining episodes 12 and 13 will be adapting material from the halfway point of chapter 533 all the way up until chapter 542. Now this is in total 9.5 chapters worth of material adapted into 2 episodes, and it's going to be covering the remainder of the Everything But the Rain flashback arc, as well as all of the Blade and Me material where Ichigo speaks with Old Man Zangetsu and he has the remainder of his power unlocked. And this chapter of course ends with Yhwach greeting the Wandenreich as they prepare for the second invasion of the Soul Society. I do think that this is a really good point to wrap things up on with the first cour, because I'd initially assumed that the first cour will be wrapping things up at chapter 546, right at the point where the Quincy begin their second invasion and the Serite is transformed into the Quincy City. Realistically speaking, I think chapter 542 is more likely where they're going to be wrapping things up on, because the material between that chapter and chapter 546 will be excellent for the first episode of the second cour, and it's sort of planning for the second invasion as we see all of the Shinigami wrapping up their training, as well as spending some time with some of the Sternritters as they learn about Uryu becoming Yhwach's successor. One thing is for certain, if they only adapt all the way up until the end of chapter 542, then it is very likely that there will be quite a bit more anime exclusive scenes involved in this double episode. It's been debated online whether if the double episode will actually be 60 minutes long, or if they're just going to be combining the length of 2 episodes, so that's actually going to be 48 minutes and the adverts will take it up to that 60-minute mark. We're not going to know until Monday, unfortunately, but if it is 60 minutes, then expect a lot of anime only scenes. Realistically speaking, we may get only a couple of scenes involving Uryu's character, especially since he was teased in the post-credit scene of last week's episode. Now of course there's a lot to discuss with the hype surrounding the second cour of the anime, from the comments made by Kubo and the animation production staff, as well as these incredible spoiler images that we've had from the 60-minute new episode releasing on Monday. Let me know all of your thoughts about the 1000 Year Blood War arc Bleach anime so far. Have you enjoyed the first cour? And now do you understand why the second cour will be so much more better than the first? After we've gone through all of these comments from the animation staff, and we understand how the first cour was competing with so many other anime titles at the time, because I think they were struggling to get a hold of good animators for the first cour. which had resulted in some disappointing scenes for the first cour. But again, I look forward to reading all of your comments about the production issues with the first cour and how they're going to be remedied for the future of the series. What do you think that Kubo has planned for his anime-only scenes that he wants to add? Do you think that it's because of his heavy involvement with the anime that we've not had him release any new manga material so far? And lastly, are you looking forward to Monday, where the first cour of the anime is going to wrap up? We're going to finally have all of Everything But the Rain adapted, and we're going to learn about the truth of Ichigo's powers and the secret of Old Man Zangetsu. Lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next Bleach video.
If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.